Ahmed Najar is a Palestinian British writer and director from Gaza. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. I wonder what you make of the rebuke from England's top judge.
I think if we were to actually look at the whole thing altogether, I wonder why there was no scheme for the Palestinians to start off with. There are no justifications to have a scheme for Ukrainians, but not one for the Palestinians. And it was actually quite surprising that it has become, for the last couple of days, the main headline is that 6 Palestinians have arrived to the UK, as if that is going to entirely change the life of the UK. So, and also from my point of view, I have been following how the government has been handling the whole of Palestine-Israel issue. And from a moral point of view, or from a legal point of view, the UK has been really appalling and is siding by Israel and being complicit in a genocide. So I think it's very important to start and look at the whole issue as a whole. But there is no even basic, if you can explain it to me in very basic terms, why one nation should be given a scheme and another not. That I cannot find.
Well, listen, I guess, Ahmed, this comes down fundamentally, and I'm not here to sort of agree or disagree with it, really, because actually this issue is beyond that. The government has decided, for whatever reason, that it is not going to have a scheme such as the Ukrainian scheme for Gazans who have family in this country, for whatever reason. And we can argue back and forth about whether that's right or wrong. What can't happen, it strikes me, what can't happen is that judges then decide that the government's decision shouldn't stand and use the laws as they currently exist to take a different decision that allows people to come from Gaza who have family here.
Well, I think that is kind of like how the legal system stands here and what they... And I believe in the sort of they should be independent in terms of making decisions when it comes to this kind of issues. They are qualified judges, and they have been vetted, I presume, and they know what they're doing. Now, if they change the law, that's a whole entirely different discussion. And then for us is we have to look at why you're trying to change the law just because 6 members of Palestinian family have arrived in the UK.
I say again, Ahmed,
so that is the sort of issue we need.
Yeah, listen, I take your point, and I can absolutely understand the questions that you have about why Ukrainians are not Gazans. I get that.
Yeah,
but I guess my issue is it's not actually about, in this case, it's not actually about who is meant to be coming to the UK or who isn't coming to the UK. It's who is in charge of making that decision. The government has to be in charge of making that decision because they are elected representatives of the people. They are the ones that decide what goes onto the statute book. It is for those judges to act independently, you're right, of course, of government, of parliament in applying those laws. But it just cannot be that we have judges who are able to make decisions about who gets to come to the UK, indeed who stays in the UK, which is against the wishes of the elected representatives of the people.
Well, I think if the decision, again, I'm not a legal expert, but if the decision was made within the law that permitted, I don't see why should we call it as a loophole. As I mentioned earlier, I think the loophole here is really that it hasn't been looked into great details, and why shouldn't the Gazans be allowed for a similar scheme? So there is an issue already about the Gazans to start off with that you haven't actually done anything about it, and now the people are trying whatever is possible through a legal way to try and get their families over, and that's what's going on. I think the outrage should be to say to the government, why have you waited for that long? And you still haven't made a decision on whether the Gazans should have a scheme like the Ukrainians. And if they shouldn't, why shouldn't they?
Understood. Really good to talk to you. Thank you for coming on.